Hi, my name is Kenneth Paul, and this is my woodworking shop. It's great to have you here so I can share with you the projects from this shop. Each week I try to produce a new video featuring one of the projects from this shop. Today we're going to showcase a router table. A router table is a real workhorse in any shop. What we're going to go through are the different features you can build into your router table to make it even more versatile. Now, if you like the content that I'm putting out here, I'd appreciate it if you could hit subscribe, hit like, share it with your friends. You know the deal. Alright, let's get started. Alright, this is the router table I built for my shop. And we'll go over some of the features. Alright, let's start with one of the most important features, the top itself. This top is a stress skin laminate. That is to say, it gets more dense from the middle outward. It starts with a core of cabinet grade plywood. You could use MDF. And then onto that is glued a layer of 1/8 inch masonite on each side of that plywood. And then on top of that is a layer of formica on each side. By having the outside as the absolute densest, what you end up with is a table that really wants to stay dimensionally stable. Into this I have cut a miter track. Now this miter track, I don't know if you can see it, has a slight curve on the bottom, so if you tighten these screws it gets a little bit tighter so you can adjust it to your particular miter gauge. And we have a router insert with removable inserts for different size bits. This whole top table moves in and out with these two adjusters. And the fence, each fence moves to close in. It's just a couple of a couple of wing nuts that tighten everything down. And one of the more important features of this particular router table is dual port dust collection. It collects dust from up on top through this hole and right through the bottom. Let me take this door off. These are little makeup holes that let air come in to make sure it's going into the back. That little plywood wall you see in back here is what separates the back plenum chamber from the front plenum chamber. The air from this side just goes under, and the air is hooked up to a hole in the back. I have this hooked up to dust collection, but if you wanted to plug in a separate vacuum, that plug you see on back here is controlled by the front switch, so when you turn the router on, your vacuum will turn on. My router of choice for a router table is the DeWalt DW625. And what you can see here, I have some ultra high weight molecular plastic holders that are adjustable, so I can adjust this insert up and down to make sure it's perfectly flush. I've also connected this top to the first base with these rubber hold downs so that if I wanted to, I can take just this top in the router onto a job site and just put it on a pair of horses. I've got storage drawers built in. Miscellaneous stuff in the first drawer. 1/4 inch bits. 1/2 inch bits. More 1/4 inch bits. Router bushings. More 1/2 inch bits. And a nice feature I built into this is this handle raises and lowers the router is just a metal cable with a 1/4 inch female on one end, 1/4 inch male on the other to hook a handle up to. And this lets you raise and lower the router bit without having to get inside the cabinet. Okay. There we are. Now, one of the reasons you want these adjustable fences is to get maximum vacuum. You want as close an opening as possible to the bit so that there's a little airspace here as possible. Another good reason to have this is this back table, this back fence can be shimmed out with playing cards, and you can use this as a router for small delicate woods. Not a router, you can use this as a jointer for small delicate or figured woods by blowing out the outside fence and passing along here with a straight bit. This basically becomes a jointer. This whole case just sits on top of this base, so also for portability on a job site, I could take the top and the base without the secondary base if I wanted to. This base is just storage. I keep my lay dovetail jig in here and some sample bit profiles. The whole unit is on casters, so I can move it around in the shop easily. This switch controls the plug inside that the router is plugged into, and it also controls the plug in the back which you plug your dust collection or vacuum into. All right. Now to go over the features one more time. Movable top. Adjustable insets for different size bits. 2-piece adjustable fence, which allows for keeping the gap as small as possible for efficient dust collection. And also being able to shim out the back fence to use it as a jointer. Having a miter gauge slot built into is very much necessary, especially when you're doing raised panel work. Both of these fences can come off, and a large 12-piece of plywood can be put on if you're running doors vertically. The dual port dust collection, again, there's a sheet of plywood cutting down the middle. This hole picks up from here, and the little holes drilled into this plexiglass front allow makeup air to come through, pulling the dust from underneath the router through and back to your dust collection. And again, the top is removable. The top and the base are removable from the rolling base. The drawer storage keeps your bits organized. And large storage on the bottom just makes the most of your space in the shop. And one of my favorite features, again, is the ability to raise and lower the router without having to open up the case to get inside. All right, if you have any questions or if you have any thoughts on what you would add to a router table, please feel free to comment. I will make one more comment. Router bits. Buy the best router bits that you can. A good set of a dozen router bits is going to cost you more than your router. That's just the way it is. And whenever possible, try to buy half-inch shank router bits. All right. I think that's about it. Well, you all have a very good day. All right. Bye-bye.